as soon as the technology catches up. Excellent. My name's Tom. I'd like to welcome everybody to the 18th of February 2026 Hellertown Zoning Hearing Board meeting. I'd like to open with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to take this moment to do a roll call, also give an opportunity to introduce all the members of the Zoning Hearing Board. Once again, my name is Tom Dietrich. I'm the chairperson of the Zoning Hearing Board for 2026 for Hellertown. And to my left,
Ken Solver,
Melissa Hutchison.
Don Mills,
and of course, for our solicitor for a Zoning Hearing Board is,
Bob Hitchkey.
thank you. And representing the borough is our wonderful zoning officer.
Terry Fatum.
Thank you. So we're meeting tonight for what's on posted for 25 tax ZHB 05. It's some special exception usage of conversion of a single family home into apartments. Just a little background. We want to first cover why do they need to be here? Please.
Okay, well, the TC Town Center requires a special exception use for the conversion of a single family residence into apartments. So that is our purpose for this evening's meeting.
Excellent. And then, of course, just to recap some of the history of this, there's been a continuance over the last, I believe, 2 meetings. So this was originally made a public notification. We're just going to recap some of the stuff was made about this meeting, when and where.
Tonight's meeting?
Yes.
Well, because it is a continuation, no new notice was required to be published in the media. However, we did post this meeting on Facebook and on the borough's website on February 12th. On February 10th, we posted the municipal building, and on February 11th, I posted the property. There is my certification in your package.
Excellent. With that certification, there's some photos, I believe.
Yes, those are photos of the posting.
And it looks like there's 2 of them, and these are located on the property.
One is at Borough Hall, one is at the property.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may interrupt.
Yes, please.
Terry, I do have one question, and I wanted to look for it before I asked to see what the date on it was, and I see it is recent. And in fact, it's the Planning Commission recommendation, which of course recommends approval of the requested special exception, even though they call it variance. But it also contains a recommendation to approve a requested variance under 450-20C4 to permit vehicles to back out onto Laubach Street.
We have not received an application
So
for
that's
that
not
appeal,
part
so
of
that's
this
not tonight.
application.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Just for your information, when this originally was heard before us, everybody was sworn into who was going to be giving testimony. Just to be sure, if there's anybody tonight who's going to be giving testimony that has not been sworn in already, anybody want to raise a hand or anything? Good. Okay, just to remind you guys, you were already sworn in originally before the continuances. So now that the solicitor kind of raised that concern, moving forward with these apartments, if a parking issue is require them to pull out into, I believe the concern is it's a small alleyway.
Laubach Street, yeah, to back out, I believe.
So would anything that we approve today supersede or give them basically like a rubber stamp that all the other variances or any other special exceptions? Okay.
No, the only thing you're going to be ruling on tonight is whether what he is proposing qualifies under the specific standards of 450-24 as a special exception use under the ordinance.
And if the appellant would like to amend or add on, is there any way to do it tonight, or does he have to go through another notification and the whole process from the start?
If he wanted to amend, it should have been done previously because the amendment would not have been part of the notice, and that is problematic.
All right. Considering that information, would the appellant like to move forward with the special exception? Or are we looking for another continuance to include any other considerations that might be necessary to this property?
So it's my understanding, and Terry, please correct me when I'm wrong, not if I'm wrong, but when I'm wrong. So when I went to the planning commission hearing, I had submitted a set of drawings with a parking lot that was substantial, but still met the criteria for permeable, impermeable surface. There was a concern with respect to the size of the parking areas brought forth by the planning commission. During the discussion, I did ask or request, during the discussion, my comments were that we had to have it that large in order to meet all the qualifications set forth by Barry Isett and Barry Isett's response prior to the planning commission meeting. At that point in time, during the planning commission meeting, they alluded to the fact that in theory, they can approve what's called stackable parking, which allows, if the tenants are in the same unit, that they can park in front of each other, and at this and that it's permissible based on location and current zoning laws. However, I still have to supply them with the new parking layout. At which point in time, if they approve it, then I have to come back to you folks again for a variance, which would allow, there's three other things that have occurred. Eliminate a dumpster, it's a 2-unit dwelling, eliminate a dumpster and be able to utilize large containers that would be provided by me with lids. And this will be not next month, but the following month, because evidently I can't submit a drawing until the variance for the apartment house is approved. And then that variance can be put on the drawing that I present to the planning commission, which will end up having to be in April, because I had to have the new drawings in today, but if I didn't get the variance, the drawings would not indicate that zoning approved multifamily. So now I miss planning for March, and it's got to go to planning for April. So now what will happen in the event that you pass and approve the multifamily dwelling this evening? I will be presenting the new drawing reflecting stackable parking with all of the other information that they had requested, which was also the backing into Lawbox Street. The parking lot dimensions they requested, but if I'm not mistaken, the new drawing will reflect the correct parking lot dimensions, but I'll be including that in the request for variance just in case. And then also there'll be a third request for, and this is in the April meeting, about eliminating a dumpster and providing totes, commercial totes for the tenants. I know it's very confusing.
So
Did I explain that pretty well, Terry, or no? Okay.
just for a little house cleaning, do you mind just stating your name,
Okay,
your
I'm sorry.
residence, and what your affiliation
So
services are?
my name's Kevin Gough. My wife and I are the owners of 411 Main Street, and we're in the process of trying to get it from a single-family town center dwelling to a multi-family dwelling, 2-family dwelling. It was, as TC, it did have a business and a separate dwelling in it, and at some point in time there were 2 apartments in the place. But hey, man.
So just foundation here.
Sure.
And my fellow members, the solicitor and zoning officer can all correct me when I'm wrong. So the planning commission operates as an advisory board,
Yes, sir.
okay? So they don't approve,
Correct.
okay? So I don't want to give you the false sense of hope. If they give it a thumbs up, it's like it's a guaranteed thing. Being a special exception, I believe that it is bestowed on us the responsibility to make sure that we understand the whole picture
Yes,
of
sir.
everything, including the impact around the community, which parking is a sensitive topic here
Yes, sir.
for a long time,
Understood.
before me and well after me. And so not having that available right now, I would say for me personally, would impact my ability to move forward and make a decision.
Can I interrupt?
Yes, please.
I just want clarification from him because that's going to potentially affect what you're saying now. I'm a little bit confused about what the planning commission is doing. Are they putting you through a land development process?
Yes, sir.
Now it makes more sense. Okay. And in order to move, see, there's two separate processes here, Mr. Chairman, that are taking place. They're putting him through the land development process, which means that they have the right to assess everything on the plan.
Okay.
And if I understand you correctly, they have, separate from the land development process, entertained the special exception use and have recommended to the zoning hearing board that it be approved along with the parking variance, which is not before the board tonight. And if I understand you correctly, as part and parcel with that land development process, they are requiring a notation on your plan whether or not the zoning hearing board will approve the use itself in the first instance.
Exactly right. Well said.
Seems like a piecemeal way of going.
It's a little leapfrogging.
And with in conjunction with the planning commission, they also gave me a list of items that have to be addressed on the new land development drawing in order for it to go through them and then be passed on to you folks. So that's where this is, I need to have the blessing tonight that says, yes, you can have a two-unit dwelling.
Well, do you have plans with you though tonight to show to the board?
I provided, okay, so this is where again, that was part of the planning commission's request that I provide full sets of drawings. I did provide floor plans, but the planning commission requested that they wanted a whole bunch of other things. So I'm in the process now. The architect is putting them all together, putting them on larger pieces of paper. And so this is where we're at.
So you don't have anything to show this board tonight what you're proposing?
Unfortunately, I only have one set of drawings that I can provide. I have the proposed, I have the old drawing of what we designed based, do I need to stop talking?
No, go ahead.
Okay, I have the original site plan design for the parking lot based on ISET's recommendations for lanes and driving, being able to drive out. I have the new footprint of and the site plan of the proposed stackable parking in the event that we're allowed. Planning had requested that in conjunction with the site plan, I provide traffic plans, as well as they wanted a full set of structural plans. They wanted a full set of electrical, plumbing, and HVAC, which we're in the process of doing. And it's my intent to have those. I could have had them today, but when in speaking with Terry, it doesn't make sense to provide them for today if I don't have the variants listed on the site plan. So,
And the board would need the electrical or the plumbing or the HVAC, but in order to determine your compliance with the requirements that are set forth in 450-24,
yes, sir.
they would need to see and know fully about what it is you're proposing.
Understood, and all of that information will be on the new set of drawings,
That we don't have tonight.
that you do not have this evening. But I can provide you with drawings that I have, and based on my knowledge of that code, we meet all of the square foot criteria. We meet with 5 parking spaces. We meet the parking criteria. And then it's basically a matter of making sure that we meet plumbing code, electrical code, HVAC code, which will be followed up on those drawings.
Not our place to give you legal advice, and I certainly am not doing so. But if I may, let me read through some of the requirements that you have to meet, that the board has to determine you meet in order to approve the requested special exception. Letter A, the use is one which is specifically authorized as a special exception use in the district within which the property is located. That's a no-brainer. It's authorized. B, the board shall determine that there is appropriate provision for access facilities adequate for the estimated traffic from public streets and sidewalks so as to assure the public safety and to avoid traffic congestion. Are you able to show the board that tonight?
I can show you the proposed parking area, which is basically enters Lawbox Street. And I have that drawing here that I can provide if they're interested in seeing that. I can also provide them with the original drawing that we sent to the Planning Commission that, again, at the time, they were not overly excited about it because of the amount of impermeable space that it was taking up.
Well, let me ask you this. The plan that you said you could show us tonight,
Yes, sir.
does it provide for backing into Lawbox Street?
It does. That was one of the points that Barry Isett requested, was that there's a traffic pattern that's drawn, and I have that. Again, this is all the ideas and everything that we've been working on,
Right.
but will be implemented on the new sets of drawings.
Okay. Let's hold that thought for a minute and get
Okay.
back to it. The board shall determine that there are fully adequate parking areas in conformity with this chapter. So that would tie in with what you're saying, you can show them.
Yes, sir.
The board may require a protective planting strip not less than 10 feet or more than 30 feet in width, situated within any required or rear yard, designed and laid out with suitable evergreen plant material, which would be planted at a minimum height of 4 feet. That's to separate a residential use from a non-residential use. So as long as you can establish
And the
what the
drawing,
surrounding uses are,
That
we
is
should be
correct.
good there.
Yeah.
Where the installation of outdoor flood lighting or spot lighting is intended, the board shall determine that such lighting will not shine directly upon any abutting property.
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming you can address that.
Yes, sir.
For every special exception, the board shall determine that the adequate provision will be made for collection and disposal of stormwater runoff on the site.
In this particular, with the new drawing, we're anticipating the water going into Lawbox Street and then going into borough sewage or borough rain stormwater. Thank you. Not sewage, stormwater.
Do you have an engineer you're working with
I'm currently working with an architect.
or an architect?
The previous space that we're utilizing for parking was covered with 2 garages. So the impervious spaces that we're utilizing, are those 2 garages, and we're adding a little bit of additional space, but nothing that would, at least in the opinion of my architect, would require additional engineering.
Well, I'll tell you what concerns me is your statement was, we anticipate.
Mhm.
There should be somebody here who says, yes, I've designed this, I've looked at the topography and the way it's going to be set up. It will direct the stormwater runoff onto Lawbox Street and not onto any of the adjoining properties.
And again, that will be addressed on the new set of drawings. We shot grades, we're doing all of that at work, and it'll be indicated on the new site plan. And that was also addressed and identified as an issue by Barry Isett.
Those plans will be available to you soon.
Yes, sir.
It is not for this board to tell you, Mr. Gough, how to proceed with your appeal.
Mhm.
But if I were you, I would request another continuance for 2 reasons. Number 1, so that the new plans can establish everything you need to establish that we just went through, but more to the point, even if we proceed tonight, and let's assume the best outcome, let's assume the board says yes, you're still going to have to come back for that parking variance,
I understand.
which means a separate application and a separate application fee.
That's correct.
Whereas if you request a continuance, you can modify your appeal to the board to include that request for the variance to back into Lawbox Street. And if in fact, when all is said and done with the planning commission, that was the only variance you needed, then you're home free. You don't have to come back to us at all. You follow what I'm saying?
Not really. I'm a little confused. So, it was my,
If you ask us to proceed tonight,
okay, yeah, but it's
the
my
only thing they're
understanding.
authorized to rule on is your special exception request.
Correct.
So even if they would do that based on the plans that you do have and not the new ones that show
Okay.
topography, which is going to make it a little bit iffy for them to be able to conclude that there's not going to be stormwater runoff on 20 adjoining properties. But even if they would, then you still have to come in and file a separate application, pay a separate fee just to come back for that parking variance.
Well, okay, so it was my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, in speaking with Terry the other day, in order for me to proceed, I needed to get zoning's approval to say, yes, you can have a multifamily dwelling. And I was somewhat confused in the respect that I was told that in order to do that, I needed to have the variance said, yeah, you can do it, and it had to be on the drawing that I submitted to the planning commission.
That doesn't make sense.
I am lost.
I totally agree with you, because that would put you in like a catch-22 kind of situation. We can't
Right.
approve until we see what the impact is. I'm looking at your drawing right now. That impervious surface, there's like a swath of grass miit be part of that, right?
Well, believe it
So
or
that's
not, it's still, and that's even addressed on the drawing. We've taken care of the impervious material we're far under. If you look at,
Okay. But it looks like a lot of that will run off into that alleyway that might have drainage issues that you're gonna have to kind of like address.
Well,
and everything.
actually, no, because there's a step down on there's the upper deck, and then there's a lower deck. There's like a 2-foot drop in a
Is that a
natural
depression?
if you scroll down, I guess it would be, if you would show Lawbox Street,
But this is information that would be necessary to kind of move forward.
correct.
And it
But-
sounds like you don't have a finalized parking situation.
Well, we do now, because, this is,
But it's not that.
it's not this, no, the new parking lot is the stackable, where the surface is it's significantly less.
Impacted.
Yeah.
So you don't have enough information to basically, not just thinking outside the box. It would appear that you don't have enough information for us to safely proceed with the special exception, but you're saying that the planning commission will not review your information without a special exception already pre-approved.
And unfortunately, that evening, I was able to stick around the meeting, but then I got called out on a call, so I couldn't stick around. But I was under the impression when I spoke to Terry the following Friday, that I would have to, hey, I'm all for saving money. Please don't get me wrong.
Yes, I hope so.
So I just, I guess what I'm trying to do is at least keep moving forward.
Mhm. So I'm not a member of the planning commission. I've never have. I've known members that explain to me some of the stuff that's going forward. You can very well have this radical idea to go forward. And the planning commission, even if they approve it, it's basically advisory towards us. They do their best to try to hash out a lot of the difficulties. You can come up with a new industry that never existed, that wasn't even on the zoning thing, that we've never heard of or anything. And they would basically work with you on going forward on how to get it to comply, and then flesh out what needs variance, what can be done, or maybe doesn't need a variance, right? They're meant to be very flexible and everything. It sounds like it's a little rigid right now. I don't understand that.
And I don't mean for this board to be equally rigid, but under 45064, it says the board may require the submission and presentation of such plans and other materials as it deems necessary to make a proper determination. And if the parking is different on the new plan than what he has tonight, and if there is no indication on the plans that we have here, there's no topographical lines on there.
Correct. And that was one of the items that
Right.
they had
So
pointed out.
I don't see how the board can make a determination that there would be that proper arrangements have been made for stormwater discharge, which is one of the requirements under 45024.
So our solicitor's been trying to tell you that we can't give you legal advice, but I'd like to have a conversation with our solicitor right now.
Sure.
Let's see if the appellant doesn't have the information to be able to make a presentation that for us to make an appropriate decision tonight. It's well within the rights of the appellant to request a continuance, which would give him the opportunity to collect that information and make any amendments going forward to try to save money on advertisement and
What I
everything,
was
right?
trying to suggest too.
So if that appellant does not have the ability to see the planning commission until April, from the sounds of it, would they need to come forward to the next month or the following month, or can they ask for continuance beyond our regularly scheduled like next meeting?
Well, no, if he's not going back to the planning commission until April, it would be appropriate for him to come back next month with a revised application to include the variance to be able to back out onto Laubach, and to have the new plans and enough for each board member.
Yeah.
Okay. And that way you would have all of the information you need, A, to rule on the special exception, and B, to rule on the variance. And that would give him the ability to put that on the plan to present to the planning commission in April. And if their assessment of the finalized plans is such that he's not going to need any more variances, then they can approve it, he's done.
So if I was the appellant, I would collect that information, come to the next meeting, get the special exception with as much information
And the variance.
and the variance, And if there's no major changes by the planning commission, and it can fall under the original variance if it was approved, and the special exception if it was approved in the next meeting, he would be, as an appellant, I'd be ready for the planning commission on April to move forward to maybe get
Exactly.
approved by them,
Yes.
and then move forward construction or whatever you want to do for the summer.
Right.
Okay, I was just wondering about that.
But he is going, if he's going to take that route, he will have to modify his appeal with the zoning board, with Terry's office.
Would there be enough time, say like if I was the appellant, to be able to submit the appeal tomorrow and have enough notification for the next scheduled meeting?
Terry, what's the deadline for?
Today
For
at
March.
4:30
What, that was for the planning commission
and zoning. and board.
for March.
Yeah.
Uh,
I can't ask for a continuance to March.
That's why we were wondering if we were like, you can ask, that's only to the next month. We're not, as the appellant, I automatically have next meeting. I was just wondering if there's a way to leapfrog or get all the information. So if I was the appellant in the same situation, I would probably, hypothetically would say I would want a continuation, then allow for the advertisement for a proper special exception in
and the
April,
variance.
and then probably put myself on the March, not April, May, right?
Yeah.
May Planning Commission meeting.
Yeah.
So that's the timeline that's now necessary if I wanted the continuance tonight. Okay, just thinking about that, if I was, an appellant.
But now, with that being said, now I'm in May, June, July, and this keeps getting kicked down the alley. So if I go with the recommendation that Terry had made, and I get the information to planning for March or for April, the following week you look at it and you say, okay, then, and, I get it, man.
I apologize if bureaucracy
Well,
is.
it's a circle jerk,
kicking butt.
excuse the expression, but it is. It's, and when is so let me ask you this, is there any harm in me providing you folks with the drawings so that you can look at them ahead of time?
What are we going to do tonight?
Not tonight, I'm saying, what I'm looking for is tonight, because it's been bought and paid
So
for.
the only thing
Are you going to be able to tell me, yes, you can do that?
we can look at it, but we won't be able to do a variance on it, but we can move forward with the special exception since the advertisement's been, established. So if you're looking at just satisfying the special exception, if I was the appellant, I would probably think about getting the continuance and get my paperwork done, get everything like 100% on board, and move forward that way. As far as like getting a special exception for March, and then I would meet with the planning commission on April.
I guess I'm wondering why the cutoff date was today for next month.
February, it's a short month.
Okay.
Was that the answer? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Um,
I'm playing too much like the appellant right now.
Cutoff date for which meeting? Zoning
The March
board?
zoning
for
hearing.
the March meeting.
Yeah, today is the cutoff date for the
Okay.
March meeting.
And I don't remember, do you advertise in the press?
Yes.
Yes. Respectfully, and I know this might add insult to injury, but I would suggest the board at least consider assessing the appellant with the costs of re-advertising his hearing in connection with.
Could you just keep your voice up, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm hearing you so far, but just.
Okay, in connection with any continuance he would request. And I know that gets tough because it sounds like he's not, all we have is what this gentleman is telling us, so we don't know what's really going on.
No offense.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know if there's a misunderstanding somewhere along the way, but the plans have apparently changed by whatever means, and that was his change. So I don't know that the borough
Not necessarily, and this is what's really kind of torquing my shorts right now. I provided them with that drawing, and quite frankly, they were not happy with that drawing. We discussed other options. They said, yeah, that's a much better option for whoever. That's initiated me to go back, start redoing drawings, okay, to try to get this done and get this moving in the right direction. It was my understanding that if the planning commission said, okay, yes, you're approved to be a two-family dwelling, you guys would give me that variance. I get it that we missed the deadline, and I understand that completely. But what you're requesting, or I guess, who's pulling the wagon? Is it zoning or is it planning?
Well,
Because
I don't know what planning is doing other than what you're telling us, sir.
Mhm.
What I can tell you is what I've already told you.
and I appreciate your help. I really do.
Without the new plans showing the way parking actually is going to be, and without the new plans with topographical lines on them, and maybe at least your architect here to say, yes, with this topography and the way it's going to be graded, we can assure that there will be no stormwater discharge infiltrating onto adjoining property. They're requirements that you have to establish in order to meet your burden
Understood.
of getting a special
Understood.
exception.
But I guess, do I provide drawings to you or do I provide them to planning? This is,
Well, you're
I-
probably gonna have to provide them to both.
okay, and then I'll do that.
And that,
And had I known that, I would have provided those to you sooner.
and with all due respect, most people who are going to tackle something like this rely upon a professional, whether it be relying on your architect, help me with this process, or an engineer or an attorney. And I know those are not pleasant thoughts because they're all dollar signs, but I think that has helped slow this process up because you're not getting advice.
So moving forward, and I'll ask you this, Tom. If you were the appellant, what is in my best interest?
So
Do I get my stuff together, and even though I missed the March meeting, I provide all the information and that gives you the opportunity to look at it ahead of time? Or when
so I would do exactly what I did here. I had a solicitor here that's helping me.
Yeah.
That's, you probably don't have your team together as far as an appellant to be able to move forward. A lot of appellants come in here, they self-represent.
Yeah.
And a lot of those are basically, what I've noticed is that it's their personal property. They ask for variance or special exceptions on something they're doing and living in. But when it goes towards a business venture, there's a kind of like an expected cost that's associated with it, that when you come in here and try to do everything by yourself, it seems like you're trying to keep all the balls in the air at the same time while you're juggling. And I apologize, I don't know very much about the planning commission. However, if I was the appellant, I would ask for a continuance if I was seen with our solicitor. And if there was a continuance to meet at the next meeting and you wanted, and as the appellant, if I wanted to present to the zoning hearing board, I know zoning members personally, of course, they're very receptive to information. They can give you suggestions or ideas without making a ruling, of course, and they can just ask questions and you can probably maybe sense the tone or the temperature of the discussion and then move forward with it to the planning commission to see
Wait.
where they are. Sorry.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Are you
Sorry.
talking in advance of a public meeting?
No.
Oh, okay.
It'd be a public meeting. I'm talking about as
All
far
right.
as continuance to the next meeting. in March, as far as like, you can present stuff, you can ask for feedback, there's nothing, we're not deliberating or anything, or.
When is the March meeting? Because I'm going to be out of town. That's the, when is the March meeting, please? Third Wednesday?
That's what today is, yeah.
Now, without all your information, it's just kind of like what's going on right now, we're having a discussion.
Yeah, but respectfully, I don't think you could do what you just advised him you could do. You couldn't comment on his plans.
No, more a question asked, as far as like trying to make sure he has information that maybe answer all of our open questions at the moment, but we wouldn't be able to deliberate or anything.
But
Or
I
any motions.
would be concerned with you doing that without without making that part of a public notice.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't see that as being an option, honestly, just follow the process. Sorry, Kevin,
Oh, yeah, no problem.
No, I don't understand why you would be required to have the special exception before anything else.
May I interject? I'm wondering if they're asking for a note prior to recommending approval to council. Does planning commission do that?
Does this have to go to
No, as
council?
far as, well, yeah, it's a land development.
The land development will have
Yeah.
to go to council.
So that's what I'm
Okay.
wondering. Are
Okay.
they asking for a note saying that the zoning hearing board has approved this, this, and this? Okay, yes. Okay, now you can go to council.
Before it goes to council?
Yes.
Okay, that
I
makes a
think
little bit more
that's
sense
what
to me.
they're
Thank you.
trying to do.
And you
My
may
opinion.
very well be right, and that's why, and please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. You seem like a very intelligent person, but you've embarked on a journey that you're not familiar with, and you may be misunderstanding some of the things that the planning commission is telling you.
I'm with you, I'm kind of confused by it. It sounds like we're all asking questions, because we're trying to understand it. We'd like to do our job. I mean, nobody here is like, no.
So,
Yeah.
and I guess then I've got to refer back to you, based on the information I was told, I can't provide drawings to planning because you're not approving the use of multifamily as a multifamily.
You can, and again, the bottom line is, they can't approve a multifamily without the final drawings here to see what you actually propose to do.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I thought they did give it a
recommendation.
recommendation that it be approved.
And I think the whole reason is here is that the Barry Isa January 2nd review letter, the first item is that in the town center district, the conversion of single-family dwelling into apartments is a special exception use and shall be presented to the zoning hearing board for consideration. I mean, that's what landed us here. That's item number 1.
And that makes sense, because that's, the special exceptions come here. I just don't understand why the leapfrog isn't going on. Because I really do believe you could submit, hypothetically, a set of plans for an amusement park if you wanted to the planning commission. You could set a plans for like a supermarket on this little property. They're going to try to work with you. It could be absurd, something completely crazy, but they're going to work with you and tell you the advice whether they're going to recommend it or not recommend it, give you guidelines and good positive feedback as far as how to approach us, or go back to borough, depending on what direction it goes, or just to the planning, back to the borough officer, right? So I just don't understand leapfrog. If you have all your plans to go forward to the planning commission with the presumption that it will meet the requirements, because you have to assume, you don't have a variance yet for the parking, so it doesn't sound like you're going to leapfrog there too either. You've got to come up with a set of plans to figure out whether you're in compliance with the current codes. And then when you're not, then you would obviously change it, give up the idea, or come to appeal it. It's just that we're like, I think at times we're the final step as far as the approval process. Right? No, I mean, as far as variance and everything.
Are you the final, or are you actually the preliminary or the initial? And maybe that's where I'm getting screwed up.
Well,
That I should be bringing you guys everything,
Again,
you say yes, and then I take it to,
there's two separate processes here.
okay,
Okay. Land development is separate and apart from anything this board does. Okay? You need a special exception under the zoning ordinance for a 2-unit. That is within the purview of the zoning hearing board. Now, as a result of the change in the parking that is going to be reflected on the new plans, you will also need a variance from the zoning hearing board to be able to back out onto Laubach Street. Those two things are solely the jurisdiction of the zoning hearing board. In that respect, the planning commission is a reviewing and recommending body only. They're saying, we've looked at what he's presented to us. We feel it's okay. Our recommendation is that you approve it. However, they don't have the zoning ordinance. They're going from a planning standpoint. Separate that from your land development process. That's another whole half of the puzzle that this board has no involvement in whatsoever. But what apparently they are telling you is that once these plans are finalized, your understanding is that they want the plans to reflect before it goes back to planning that zoning has approved the use. I think Ms. Hutchison is right. They probably want that on the plan before it ultimately goes to council, because the land development process goes through the planning commission and then council. And the bottom line, folks, is I don't see that there is enough for you to determine compliance with these requirements with new plans being developed.
Is there,
That's up to you, but
is there any reason why planning can approve it and recommend it to council if we, with the understanding that they only approve it if we give the variance?
well, first of all, again, I don't know where planning's mind is with this, because
That's why I'm lost.
they can give preliminary plan approval, they
Right.
can give conditional approval.
That's conditional. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
what I was looking. Why couldn't they give conditional approval?
They could,
Didn't,
but I, I don't know where their heads are at. I don't know what kind of advice they're getting.
but didn't, Terry, I'm sorry if I misunderstood you, but I believe you said planning commission already recommended it for approval to council.
Yes, the special
So-
exception, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the
right.
special exception.
Well, that doesn't,
That's
no,
different.
no, Terry,
That would
they
be to the
recommended
zoning.
to us that we that.
No,
Oh,
and
yes,
council,
yes.
and council,
To zoning.
and council. It says,
The
dear
letter
council,
says that,
comma,
yeah.
zoning hearing board.
Council has not received it.
I thought you meant that the planning commission recommended the land development to
Well, the council has nothing to do
That
with
didn't happen.
the
Just,
special exception use or the variance.
just reading it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I don't know why that would have been put on there. Because
So with this letter saying to council, would this go before council at the next meeting?
no.
Oh.
Not the special
without
exception use and not the variance. Never. Never. The only thing that council ever hears from a zoning standpoint is a conditional use. We're not dealing with that here. So they will have nothing to do.
I was only speaking of the land development section. But
Yeah, the land development is what they will entertain.
Right, and that's not gonna go before them without our action.
It could,
Well, isn't that more or less what's being said here?
well.
Because that was addressed to council.
And I have no idea why.
Kevin, did they make the recommendation given these plans solely?
Those are the
Like I
only
said,
plans.
I had to
they
leave.
provided.
Okay, that was
So
my.
I had to leave after they were going over everything.
Okay.
It took a bunch of notes and I had to leave, but Terry had informed me that they had made the recommendation that it be conditionally approved by you folks.
With given these plans.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But
Okay.
again, that plan will change the impervious surface.
Mhm.
It's going to decrease dramatically, but,
Understandable. Yeah.
um,
Well, and that might be another reason for you to want to hold off, because if that changes the impervious surface ratio to the point where you're going to need an additional variance. under the
it doesn't, it's actually, currently, that drawing reflects a 60% impervious, and 80% is what you need in order for town center or multifamily. So with that drawing, I'm far under that.
Okay,
The conditions that,
but how about the new one?
the new one is far less than that.
Oh, so it's gonna be less.
It's considerably less than that.
Okay,
Yes, sir. And it's all gonna be one level where this was multiple levels.
Got it.
It's only gonna be one level.
got it.
And had I known, I would have provided the preliminary drawing that I have, that the architect and I are working on, but we're trying to get them all together in one pile, so that you folks have everything in front of you.
And I'm surprised your architect didn't tell you that you would need the updated plans to show the zoning hearing board in connection with this process, with the requests that are before them.
If planning approved that and they recommended we approve it, why are there other plans being created?
Well, they want the as attorney had mentioned, we've got to provide a drawing with all of the elevations. We've
Okay,
got to provide the drawings
Sure,
that
sure.
reflect the new parking area. They also wanted, and then we also have to address where the totes were going to be stored, that
Sure,
type
sure.
of thing.
Yeah.
So again, I'm under the impression that they said, hey, it's okay if you do it. They put it in front of you, they put it in front of the zoning board says yes. Then the new set of drawings says that it reflects the variance or the approval of zoning.
Yeah,
And Terry has already expressed to me that he's going to have to spend another $750 for the second variance, which I'm willing to spend.
Yeah.
It's, and I'm going to, and there's also another plan review, which I understand. So I appreciate you being candid, but at the same time, it just seems that
I
it's,
sense, and I understand that it's frustrating, but
yeah, it is.
I think you need to lean on a professional. But you raise a good point.
they approve, that's
How could
why
they
I'm
even
lost.
Approve it?
How do they approve that, but then they're
I
approving saying
don't
back
know.
again? I'm lost.
I don't know how they're approving something they haven't even seen the final version of yet.
That's where I'm lost.
Well,
I can't explain that either.
During the discussion, okay, they required a 24-foot wide driveway in order for it to have two-way traffic. And the discussion we had was, well, you don't necessarily need that because of it not being a public road. It's a private road, so the people should be attuned to what's going on in traffic patterns.
Of course, yeah.
And then I forget who it was, they were concerned with the amount of impervious surface. And I brought up to them, and the other issue was that the street, the right of way on the street doesn't meet the criteria. And in
Yeah.
turn, if I could back out, then I could decrease the impervious surfaces. And then they said, okay, well then, and then we discussed dumpsters and things like that. This is all in a 18 or 19 point letter from Barry Iset's office. So again, I'm under the impression that, we addressed this, they gave me the go ahead, and then we go to another meeting and with the new drawings. But I mean, I could spend thousands and thousands of dollars on drawings just to have you go, not, and it doesn't make sense. So I'm getting it now, and we've got the drawings in process. We'll get it going, but I guess what I'm looking for at least is the understanding and evidently a zoning approval that yes, you can back that in fact you can back into Lawbach Street or excuse me, I stand to be corrected. A zoning approval that I can have a multifamily dwelling. That's what's on the floor right now. That's my understanding. Then I've got to go back, and then I've got to provide all the drawings which reflect, and the traffic patterns which reflect the I'm sorry. That reflect the new drawings, reflect the topography, reflect the parking patterns, reflect the backing in and backing out, the dumpster locations, as well as the floor plans that they're requesting. So that's, had somebody at planning said, well, no, you need to go to zoning first. Well, wouldn't that be a great thing? And then it would be like, okay, but then you guys say, well, you need to provide,
But with all
I'm
due
trying to
respect,
figure out what.
It's not their place to give you legal advice either. That just like, we can't give you legal advice.
Well, I'm not asking
We're
for legal
trying
advice,
to-
I'm asking for direction, like what do I need to do in order to proceed? That's not legal
Believe it or
advice.
not, yes, it is. That's why we're being very careful about how we put it to you. And just so there are no surprises when you come back, it would also be very helpful to the board's consideration to be able to judge your compliance with these requirements, to know what is on the properties next on either side of you, what other types of properties are on the block.
That's my responsibility to do that,
It is.
okay? And what do you need that information for, may I ask?
Well, specifically, if Lawbach is a private road,
It's a public street, it's an alley.
public street, it's
Yes,
an
sir.
alley.
Well, it's Lawbach Street, but it's an alley.
The dimensions, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, to answer your question, if your property is only one of 2 or 3 on Lawbach, ostensibly, there's not much of a problem backing out onto it. But if it's one of 24, that's a different story.
And what happens if it's based on that drawing, that was the only driveway that people had the ability to pull out forward, and every other property on that alleyway backs out. So that's the information you're requiring is, okay?
Can you do yourself a favor?
Yes, sir?
Write down 450-64.
Okay, thank you.
That is your burden to prove to the board. I would also recommend to the board that as a condition to granting a variance, it be conditioned upon Mr. Gough signing a hearing deferment request and waiver of time, because at this point, it's already too late to get him on for March. And under the MPC, each succeeding hearing is supposed to be within 45 days.
Unless he asks for a continuance and then it's his choice.
No.
Still have to
He's got to
sign the waiver as well.
sign a waiver.
So I understand then you're not going to, I don't need to have that, or, excuse me. And the reason you don't have the drawing tonight is because it was recommended that I wait for this hearing so that I could put it on the drawing with all the information. So, you know, you can see, you can probably feel the frustration that I've got right now.
Totally with you. You have an approved drawing from planning commission. He came to us and then they yanked it out, you know, from underneath you. It's confusing us as well. It's just, but the other thing too is, as the appellant, you're directing this, whether you want to.
No, I understand it, but it's trying to understand it, and I guess I'm trying to think logically and trying to think, you know, how I would treat other people, and this isn't, I get it, it's a bureaucracy, and we'll get it taken care of. I want to eliminate this. Me showing up every third Wednesday isn't, I don't get a kick out of doing this crap. It's really, I don't.
Yeah, I think you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I agree.
I like seeing you guys, but I want to try to eliminate this moving forward, so.
Do you understand, though, what my recommendation to them was?
I understand your recommendation, yes, sir.
Do you have one that I sent to you?
One,
A hearing deferment request?
I do know.
You don't?
There should be a copy or something since we've already deferred a couple of times.
I will send you one by email tomorrow.
Now, let me ask you this.
But just
Okay, I'm sorry,
just
sir.
so we're clear, and
Sure.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No problem.
There is going to be a form that Terry is going to be sending you to fill out and sign
Mhm.
and send back to her.
Okay.
The approval of the continuance is going to be conditioned upon you doing that within 10 days.
I could stop by your office tomorrow, Terry.
I'll email it. I'm going back to the office yet tonight if I'm in the middle of something. I'll email it to you tonight.
Okay.
So let me see if I understand this. If the appellant requests a continuance and we were have a motion and we were to vote, we can place in there a condition that he will sign it within 10 days for our motion to stand, correct?
Or
It's
the appeal is automatically
denied.
denied
Okay.
for failure to present the necessary evidence and testimony to carry his burden to establish what he needs to establish.
As long as we understand it. Thank you.
So are you looking for the full set of drawings tomorrow, or I just need to sign the deferral?
Just need to sign that, but, you know, come loaded for bear next month.
Oh, yeah, probably by the end of next week.
Or I guess it'll be in April.
Yeah,
What's funny is he can, well, no, he doesn't have time to make the notice tonight. Never mind. I was just thinking if he was able to have time, he could actually come before us with the special exception, with his own full set of drawings, because the planning commission, for the variances and special exception, they operate as an advisory. And we can move forward with our stuff, but we don't have enough notification for the planning, for the parking issue with the backing out. And plus, having a set of photos of the alleyway, as our solicitor stated, would probably help us in everything that, if that wasn't clear tonight.
Can I get a little guidance on this the whole backing out thing? Because I remember we went through this a few months ago. I just went back and looked at it, and I'm looking at 450-20C4. And assuming that the width that Kevin has here is correct, he's saying that loud back is less than 20 feet. So the requirement says, no parking area shall be designed as to require
I'm
vehicles to
sorry,
back
sorry,
out.
sorry, sorry. Can you just slow down when you're reading? I'm sorry.
No parking area shall be designed so as to require vehicles to back out of the area directly onto a street with a right-of-way width more than 20 feet. This is less than 20 feet.
That's
So
the
this
right
is-
of way, though.
Yeah, this is what it was explained.
I'm sorry, one at a time.
I'm
I'm sorry,
sorry,
one
I'm
at a
sorry.
time.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
So the width of Laubach is more than 20.
No, the Lavak is 18 feet, 9 inches, but the right of way is 21 feet.
Okay, so including the right-of-way, it's more than 20.
Yes, yes.
Okay, got it, because I'm totally lost with that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
he
right,
dropped
thank
that
you.
bomb on me.
Okay, okay. All right, that's what I wanted to know, that it was throwing me
But
off.
you raise a good point, because quite honestly, I shouldn't say
I don't know, we've been scratching our
that.
heads tonight.
Yeah. Okay, no, just, like I said, that's something I wanted to clarify, so thank you.
As you can tell, this is kind of new.
No,
We've been here for a while, and this is kind of.
No, I get it. I'm glad everybody's learning.
I'm not sure we are.
No, but that's the only way it's experienced. It's what you get when you don't get what you want. That's
The terrible thing is this time constraints, the time
Yes, sir.
requirement.
Yeah,
for all
I
this.
get it.
So I
Yeah.
apologize.
hey, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Okay.
What would you like to do? Kevin?
Go home and have a drink. But, so it doesn't sound like you're going to vote on that to allow multifamily. It sounds like I got to do the deferral. I'll get the drawings to you sometime next week. And we'll put our name on the dance card and go from there. That's all we can do. And keep moving forward.
So, and you understand you're asking for a continuance to the April meeting?
Yes, sir, I am.
Anybody
So
have
we're leapfrogging March.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to be
Yeah,
here.
there
I
you
just
go.
wanted to
Yeah.
first time.
But we
Okay.
can't make it anyway. I can't.
Understood, that's first variance, but we still have special exception that's on the floor.
I see.
Basically,
Okay,
what you
thank
brought. I want to make sure we're not doing anything, because we're going to get a deference signed, of course. I'm going to get you on vacation.
No. But let's just make sure everybody has their taxes in early, because that's April 15th.
Is it really?
You may have people here.
So Chris will definitely not be here that day.
We're third Wednesday, correct?
Tax day, yeah,
April,
so I got on my calendar.
April 15th.
I will not be here.
And why does that state sound? Oh, no, April 13th, I have to be in Harrisburg. Okay, so I'm good for the 15th.
So the deferment is a requirement because we're going beyond 45 days. This first one meeting to another one. Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, so motion to continue to April 15, conditioned upon Mr. Gough's execution and submission of a hearing deferment request and waiver of time to the zoning office within 10 days, in lieu of which the appeal is automatically denied, but we're not going to have to worry about that because you're going to do what you need to do.
I would like to make a motion of what Bob just said.
We have a first motion.
And does that include his permission to go home and have a drink tonight?
Let's not put that in a motion.
Actually, that's a recommendation.
After tonight, I'm sure all of us can agree on that, but however, the motion is as presented.
I
Do we have
would
a second?
second that if you would change the recommendation to everybody on this board, go home and have a drink too.
Fair enough, fair enough.
I may
Lost
do-
Tavern's open tonight and they have lobster rolls.
So we have a first and second on the motion that was read by our solicitor. Any deliberation, discussion? Excellent. Would you like to go to a vote?
Aye.
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 And aye. So that's unanimous.
Did you second?
I did.
Oh, you did.
Don did.
So at this time, I think we're done. We can, with the solicitor, the stenographer, give her a break.
Yes.
Thank you. So, old business? Is there anything on the board for March?
Yes.
So we are having a March meeting.
Yes.
I thought we were getting, Out of
so
one.
too.
I don't really
No,
brought
we
it.
got an application.
Okay, so we do have a meeting on the March, that's new business. Is there anything else for the good of the board?
Can I ask a quick question? Is it in my best interest to get the drawings to you a month ahead of time? Or in the event that?
I think we can only see them
something
at the meeting.
I see.
Yes, is that correct?
So you only
You
see
can't
them
see it
at the
personally, right?
meeting?
Well,
or
they,
shortly
no,
before?
they can be attached, you know. If you want to have your architect blow them down so that smaller copies can be submitted with your revised application, don't forget to do that as well.
Right.
So that the board is going to hear not only the special exception request, but the request for the variance to back out of the law box.
Okay, so then, my previous request for zoning only referenced multifamily.
Right.
Now it should reference multifamily, backing into
And-
Laubach, the dumpster situation.
I don't
Well,
think that's a
The
variance,
dumpster
though.
situation is a planning.
Yeah, there's
But
no.
they said I need to get
These two are
approval
listed
from
here.
you folks.
For the dumpster?
Yes, sir. To eliminate the dumpster and utilize totes.
I don't think that's within our purview.
Um,
I was not
That's what-
aware of-
Terry, you want to help me out here?
In the review letter, it said dumpsters shall be provided for the temporary storage for all single-family development. Location and enclosure shall be approved by the borough per saldo 390-21I.
See, that's under the SALDO, that has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, that's not
Part of
us.
the land development plan.
Yeah.
Okay, so then so the
So that's
dumpster,
something that planning commission would approve, or borough council?
Isn't that kind of weird? Isn't there a code already for like refuge disposal and
well, they
storage?
say
That's the south.
if it's multifamily, you need to have a dumpster. But I think that references
Larger.
larger places. I mean, I have the place at 758 and there's 3 apartments and
See, this is
There's a
learning
lot
for
of-
us because
There's a lot of places like that.
Yeah.
we had
it's just 2 people, it's 2 families. In my mind, well, number one, there's no place to put a dumpster where the borough can pull in
And access.
and access it safely and without,
how much, yeah, just,
and then that's why, so again, I'll include it in whatever I got included and then,
remember, there's stenographers here, there's no testimony or anything.
yes, sir.
It's just that, I just want to for refreshment, we've heard cases in the past
Yes, sir.
where commercial properties mentioned that they were using totes.
Right.
Okay, and we didn't have to approve it. That was like whatever refuge stuff, that's like in code enforcement, not even code enforcement, like whatever, health and hygiene or whatever type of enforcement.
So
Public
literally,
safety
it's
or
just,
under the
something.
SALDO.
So-
Yeah, that's
land
not
development.
us.
That has
Yeah.
nothing to
Yeah.
do with
okay, so
us.
it's basically just mark tote storage and let.
If it's part of the plan, I would humbly
Okay.
put it on the plan.
Very good.
And if you want to explain how it's not impacting the neighborhood, which
Nice,
is,
thank you.
thank you very much. If you want to explain how your operation is not going to impact the neighborhood, I would humbly believe that's one of the requirements for a special exception.
Okay.
Make sure you're not, and any variance, you got to make sure, once again, the like 5 requirements that it doesn't impact the neighborhood. That might be another explanation, part of your exhibit.
Okay, and the presentation for pictures, do you want that on paper or do you want a PDF? How do you want that
I would make,
presented?
put a little packet together for us.
Okey-dokey.
Yeah.
Very good.
So that you can kind of be able to show us, walk through it. If you want to do big blow-ups, that's fine. And then be able to admit it to the record. That would be necessary.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
You have us really like,
Yeah, well, hey, again, life's a learning experience.
So-
Okay, thank you.
you're very welcome. Anything for the good of the board, anything, guidance from anybody? We're good. So we're going to have a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
First and second,
Yep.
all in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.